Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. Today's video is going to be a little bit of an interesting video for me because I've been a little bit against like the hybrid Fi build or like the non-draconic focus build. However, I thought it'd be really fun to just make what I think the version of the build would look like and what I would probably run, just to give anyone out there an idea of, if you're interested in building it and you're just trying to get a good starting point, where should you go? When it comes to hybrid Fi, just really quick, kind of a preamble to like what I think about this deck and like Ninja as a whole is I think there's two core philosophical ways of playing Ninja from my experience playing the decks is, and this is with a lot of aggro decks, but Ninja especially, is I think you have two options. You can either push a lot of damage and push a lot of chain links and really force your opponent to interact with you just from a sheer damage perspective, because like they truly have to think like, can I race this person? Or you have kind of a, I don't want to say mid-range build because it's definitely not mid-range, but like a more like interactive build where you're forcing your opponent to interact with you from a decision-making standpoint, not just from damage, but from, a card's hit effect or potential go again or something like that, where you're forcing your opponent to have more decision points, which inherently maybe lends them to make more of a mistake. A common example of this is like Torn Tempo is a great card example of this. It's a 1 for 5 on hit go again. So if you play that card on like Chainlink 4 or 5, and we'll get to this more in depth in the deck tech, is like if you play on like Chainlink 5, 1 for 5 go again, and they've already blocked out Mask once, then you're really putting the opponent in a weird spot where like they aren't 100% sure, like, what should I be doing? Should I block him? Should I not block him? Should I prevent the go again? Whatever. And if you play like on Chainlink 6, like ideally or something like that, then you have the ability to like, really put them in a weird spot because it's like on hit go again and he draws some mask and he can potentially attack me again. Like, what do I do? Right. And it just puts your opponent in a bad spot. So knowing that and knowing those two core philosophical ways of playing, which is, interaction versus damage, in my opinion, I chose the more interaction focused build for this. So I'm trying to force my opponent to interact with me through certain key on hit effects as much as I can with Ninja, because where this game has changed a lot since Ninja was a thing with Katsu is before it was just like straight aggro. Like Chain had a couple on hit effects, but for the most part, you just dealt with damage. Right now with Oldheim and with Prism and with Briar and with all these different heroes, like there's nasty on hit effects that, and Starvo, especially when he was in the meta, nasty on hit effects that really hurt your ability to execute your game plan. You can't just take damage anymore. It doesn't work that way. So you have to try to force your opponent to do the same as a Ninja player. So looking at this, kind of going in kind of the core philosophy of this deck, I'm running Kodachis and not Emberblade. I think if you run a hybrid build, Kodachis are the best way to go. So knowing that with my blues, I picked all 0 cost blues, and I try to go with a lot of 3-block blues to try to maximize my block value. So the 3 blocks I didn't pick were like Brahma Cinderclaw. You want this in your deck regardless because you want to be able to give stuff, draconic links. And then I picked Soulbead Strike. It's a 0 cost 3-block blue on hit go again. Really nice. Same thing with Lava and Loyalty. It's conditional go again, but it's 3-block, potential go again. And then Winds of Eternity is just a good 2 power 3-block blue. For not Katsu, for Fi. The only 2 block blues I have are Minnowism, obviously because of Belittle, and then I have Brahma Cinderclaw, which both are kind of intrinsic and needed in the deck. So that was that. The next thing I said was like, okay, what core draconic cards do I want to keep? For me, Lava Burst and Breaking Point were like obvious choices. Breaking Point's amazing for any opponent that can't manipulate their arsenal. This card's going to be slowly a little bit, this card and especially CNC are going to be slowly a little bit like not as good as you think they are the more I've played, because so many people are going to be using Crown of Providence now. Like if you think about it, Oldheim's going to be able to manipulate his arsenal with Crown of Seeds. Then Icelander's going to have Crown of Providence, which can manipulate her arsenal, and she can just play from her arsenal at instant speed. Prism can play with them from her arsenal at instant speed, and she might use Crown of Providence. Briar's going to be using Crown of Providence. Like Dash is going to be using Crown of Providence. There's all these big decks that are potential like meta heroes that are going to be potentially using that headpiece, so they can just cycle their deck out. They basically have their own Crown of Seeds for two defenses. So it's not going to be not useful because you're going to force that interaction from them, which is nice, but it's definitely not as powerful as you think it is. However, it's too good not to be in the deck. Lava Burst is just the best value rupture card that Fi can play. Then I kept in like some of the key attack cards, like Brand with Cinderclaw is really intrinsic to our deck because it gives stuff like Belittle and Snatch and Take the Tempo Draconic Link now. It makes them a Draconic Link, which is really nice. And then Rising Resentment and Soaring Strike. Rising Resentment's amazing on Chain Link 2, like Draconic Chain Link 2, because then if it hits, I can banish a Take the Tempo and play that for free, or banish a Torrent Tempo and play that for free, which is super nice. Even banish a Soaring Strike. So that this card's just great. This card's amazing on 4 red card hands. Like sometimes like you play like a Ronin Renegade for 3, and then you play a Rising Resentment for 3. They let that hit for some reason. Or if they let that hit, then you can banish, Take the Tempo, play it for 5, play it for 5 on hit, banish a card, or you banish, a Torrent Tempo, play it for free on hit, go again with still 1 card in hand. Like there's a bunch of stuff you can do with it, right? So super nice for that. And then Soaring Strikes is great because it gives cards go again, right? Being able to play this Chain Link 1, they let it hit, you banish a Snatch, and then you play Snatch with go again, which is really nice. It allows you to even play a Lava Burst. Like you banish Lava Burst, play it on Rupture, 0 for 5, go again. Super nice. Just the card's too good. So I kept those in. Ronin Renegade is just a nice 0 for 3, and I need more Draconic Link starters if I can to help facilitate some of these turns. And then finally, I kept Rise from the Ashes. I'm only running 1 Phoenix Flame in this deck. There's just no point. If you're not running a full Draconic build, there is no point to run more than 1 Phoenix Flame. There's just not. Like, the only time I'm going to go get a Phoenix Flame is if I have a heavy Draconic turn, which is only going to happen sometimes in this deck, or I have a Rise from the Ashes. I'm not running Inflame. I'm not running Flame Call Awakening because 1 for 3 go again is just not good value in this deck. I could run it. You could maybe do Flame Call Awakening for something else in this deck, like maybe Ronin Renegade or something, but I want to try to have a little bit more 0 cost value. And so like if I play Rise from the Ashes, I'm just going to go get it because Rise from the Ashes buffs a Draconic or a Ninja attack action. So I can play Rise from the Ashes, go get a Phoenix Flame, right? And then play something like a Rising Resentment for 6 on hit, or Soaring Strike for 7 on hit, banish a Snatch, right? Or I can play a Torrent Tempo for 8, right? It just depends on what you're doing. It's just really nice. So I'm only running 1 Phoenix Flame. I just don't see a reason in running more. It's just kind of wasting your time. So then we kind of get into the interactive part, right? Like, what are we trying to do with this deck? Well, we're trying to make our opponent block. And not just because of damage, but because we're giving them a decision point of like, are they going to block me? It's the same philosophy I had with Katsu. So number 1 for that is Snatch. That's the obvious choice. 0 for 4, go again on hit, draw. If they don't block it, you draw a card, potentially can snap it, depending on how many cards you have in your hand. You can give it go again with Razor Reflex. You can give it go again with even bigger than that. You can give it go again with Soaring Strike. There's a lot of like go again drivers in the deck to help to make this card even more powerful. Take the Tempo and Torrent Tempo, both 1 for 5s, both have good on hit effects. Take the Tempo can be given go again by all 3 of these cards, right? It's also great. You basically just treat this card as a Rupture card. It's basically a Rupture card. You play this on like Chain Link 4 or 5 after you've probably hit 3 times that turn. Then you can potentially banish the card off top of your deck on hit, and it came in for 5. So Torrent Tempo has go again. It's nasty on hit. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. I'm running the Belittle package. I don't like Belittle inherently, but in the heavy ice meta, and since I have a decent amount of 1 cost cards in this deck that don't have go again, it's nice to go get that and be able to play that out and have the extra pitch, especially if I'm trying to use Kodachis every turn. I'm really trying to use Kodachis every turn with this deck. So that's that. And then I'm running 3 Art Wars. I thought about taking this down to 2, but right now I just don't have a good 1 of replacement. Maybe 1 Salt the Wound would be really good in this deck. But right now, just really testing this out. We have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 blues in the main board with 2 in the side for ice. So we're going up to 17 for ice. And yeah, for as far as like kind of other like key side cards, I'm running 3 even bigger than that because it just helps give a lot of cards in the deck go again, like Take Tempo, Snatch, Torrent Tempo, stuff like that. Ronin Renegade, things of that nature. So that was that. Razor Reflex, same reason. It gives all my attacks go again on hit. And then not Soaring Strike, but like other one-off cards like Belittle, and then a Lightning Strike's really good as well. Playing this off even bigger than that is amazing. So you choose to draw a card, has go again. It's a 3-block. I also tried to have as many 3 blocks in the deck as I could. I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24 3-block cards in the deck. So almost half the deck is 3 blocks, which is really nice. As equipment, Findle Spring Tunic's the main one. Then Mask Momentum, Snaps, obviously, and Stubby. The arm piece is hard because you can't really use breaking skills. Doesn't really do anything. But this will help facilitate good Belittle turns. If you can play Belittle off, like if you pop this, play Belittle off Tunic resource, play Belittle for 4, go get a Minnow, and then you're playing stuff like, Lava Burst at the end of your turn for 6. Play Rise Resentment for 4. Play Ronin Renegade for 4. It definitely helps like give good little mini swing turns. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. In the sideboard, we're running the same, 3AB or 2AB really. In this deck, we might end up switching to 3AB. I'm going to switch between that and Furnace. It just depends on how much Icelander is in the meta. If there's a lot of Icelander, then Furnace will be swapped out for No Ring Gloves. But we have, for equipment, we have Flamescale Furnace and Shuko, mainly for block value against like Bravo, against Briar, and against other heroes where we really want to try to take tempo and only use our equipment to block with. That's all you've got. We're using for the Briar matchup, mainly for the mirror, as well with Phi and against Katsu. Basically all aggro decks will side this in. Thaw, obviously Icelander, and even Lexi. Rise from the Ashes is for ice, and then Erase Face is for Prism. Mainly is kind of like the big Prism killer. It can pop auras, but it also turns off Go Again for her. If this card hits, her Heralds can't have Go Again. And if any Prism is worth their salt, they're going to be siding Heralds into you because that does better against aggro than Aura Prism. So it's really good against that. So that's why I have it in there as well. But yeah, that's the base of the deck. Nothing special. It's like similar to Katsu, right? Where I'm trying to like, the thing about this deck, and I think it's going to be any person that's trying to play this hybrid-esque build, is like, if you're going for this build, why don't you just play Katsu? Is the real question. Like, what does this deck have access to that Katsu does not? It has stuff like Lava Burst. It has stuff like a couple extra links from Phoenix Flames, right? It has access to it's just down to what you value. Do you value effects like Rising Resentment, Soaring Strike, Rise from the Ashes? Or do you value effects like combo, right? So it just depends on what you think is best and what you value the most. And that's the decision you got to make. Personally, I think Katsu is an amazing spot right now. Like the Katsu deck that I was like referencing, like this is my old Katsu deck and then this is my current one. I think that it's really good. And I think that if you're going to run a hybrid Phi, if you're running hybrid Phi because you want to run Phi and you enjoy Phi as a hero, but you just don't want to do full Draconic, that makes sense. But if you're running hybrid Phi because you think it's the competitive option, then you got to ask yourself, like, should I just run Katsu? Because Katsu's better at it, in my opinion, personally. I think he presents more on hit effects and like more decision points. But that's just the basis of it. But hopefully this made sense. There's probably a couple of different things I could change around the deck. This is just my initial shot at it. So let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are. Really, trying to play around this deck, see what the best option would be. But hopefully y'all enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If not me, go to our Fleshbread creator, do the same thing for them so we get more people seeing this game. And yeah, give me any video ideas that y'all want to see. I'm doing a stream on Friday with a case opening, so I'll see y'all there hopefully for that. And yeah, join us in the Discord down in the description below, and hopefully, we'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.